Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Science of Flipping podcast. I'm your host, Justin Colby. Now, this is going to come with some emotion as I'm going to give you my predictions of what's happening to the real estate market in 2022. And this is coming from the fact that I probably get asked this question 2-3 times a day. What do you think is going to happen in the real estate market? For those of you on Instagram and YouTube and all the other places, I get this question all the time. And so I'm going to give you some predictions. I don't know if I'm Nostradamus. I don't know if I'm going to be 100% accurate, but I'm going to tell you from the data that I've been able to see looking backwards in 2021, and then so far what has happened over the last 2 months here in 2022. This episode is going to be about my predictions about the real estate market. Now, I'm going to start somewhere where I don't think a lot of people would expect me to start, which is going to actually be rental appreciation. There has been major price increase in rents through 2021 for obvious reasons. When you have nothing to buy, people need to live somewhere, and landlords are doing two things. A, they're taking advantage of that and raising rates, and then B, they're trying to catch up on maybe some past losses that happened because of COVID. So with all that being said, somewhere in between 15 to 22% increase in rent rates through 2021. That is actually still happening now. Now, I don't have any data that I can see this moment to say, in the first 2 months of 2022, how much rent has gone up. But the data that I've been able to see is anywhere from 15% all the way up to 22% increase in rent rate. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means everything is starting to price people out. And so if you just listen to anything I've been putting out recently, you will understand I just use a lot of my opinion on, simple, what I would say common sense, I guess, is just supply and demand. But here's the reality is if you are in a certain price point area, so for example, I think the number is roughly, if you stay under 350,000, you're under the median price point, and you are looking to either buy a home or rent a home. It has been shown that essentially buying a home is an actual cheaper option than renting, okay? So now it goes to the point of, in those price points, 350 and under, now how many people can now afford those homes, right? Interest rates are increasing, but simultaneously, so are wages. Income is actually increasing. Reports are showing somewhere between 3 to 5% increase in wages. The thing that I think most people aren't, well, I don't want to say it this way. I would say people need to focus, continue focus on is how does inflation affect this? Now, the reason why I like real estate is because, in my opinion, it is the very best inflation hedge you can get, right? So it goes back to common sense about supply and demand. It goes back to rents are now increasing at a rate that is pushing people to make a decision. Do I continue to rent or does it make more sense to buy? Let me give you an example of what I did on my last YouTube channel video. By the way, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, just youtube.com/Justin Colby. My last video talked about this idea of, making a decision of owning your own home or renting your own home. So this is where the rubber starts to meet the road for a lot of people, right? If rents are appreciating at a pace of not really becoming affordable, do you want to really throw your money at a landlord to live in the home versus maybe going and get a first-time home buying loan, 5%, 10% down, and your mortgage interest rate, your mortgage, including your interest rate, is going to be lower. Plus you have the depreciation of the house and tax write-offs with interest and insurance. You really just need to be able to do the math. So let's get back to the topic, right? I kind of went down a rabbit hole. So now let's talk about supply, just simple supply. Now, a lot of people and experts talk about how the home builders are going to be able to increase supply. Well, there are actual real-time challenges with this. Some of it is materials. There are real issues right now with builders getting the materials they need to finish their projects or even start their projects. Prices are starting to increase, which makes it more expensive for them to build, which means when they do get finished, the prices for them to sell will be higher. And it is actually a backlog of material issues that is not allowing the home builders to build at a rate that really could help out supply. You couple that with some of the bigger builders, national builders, realizing that buying and holding and accumulating all of that asset and keeping it makes a lot of sense. And so now we have builders that are actually buying to rent, not buying to sell. Now that will help the rental market per se, but how does that help the retail market or the housing market in the sense of listings? Well, it doesn't, right? And so now you're combining that factor of the builders not being able to produce the goods that we are looking for them to do to increase supply, and then when they are doing it, they're actually building it to rent. So this poses another major issue that a lot of the experts didn't necessarily foresee coming. You couple that with hedge funds still very much in the game, iBuyers very much in the game. So when something does pencil for them, they're able to pay top dollar. And now agents are actually going directly to these hedge funds and saying, hey, I have a property 123 Main Street, and it never even hits the MLS a lot of times. I myself do that as a full-time real estate investor for 14 years. I quite literally will take a home directly to Blackstone or whoever you may want to choose, and they buy it for top dollar. It's absolutely incredible. And so this is a real issue that I don't think a lot of people recognized out of the gate, but it's going to keep supply incredibly low. The other thing that is worth mentioning here is, the amount of appreciation that happened in 2021 was quite literally record breaking, right? Like 20% plus. Now, based around what we're talking about, again, common sense, supply and demand, I don't see anything slowing down appreciation, right? It is supply and demand. Now, yes, interest rates are going up. And so a lot of people are thinking, oh, this is it. This is what's going to break this, cycle. And I don't believe that to be true for a second. The people are speaking, right? People are buying second homes and third homes as rentals instead of living in them. I just mentioned that again on my last YouTube video. People are getting smarter with their money. They realize, well, if I can't buy a place I'm going to live in, maybe I buy a rental, right? They're doing things with their money to actually make them money. And, the reality is, interest rates aren't going to go to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%. It won't happen. Not right now. Could it at some point? Sure. But, when interest rates are going to be under 4 still, you're not going to have this big buyer fallout. You're not going to have this mass buyer revolt against buying a home because the interest rates are too high. No, they're not 2.8%, but 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, still an incredibly low interest rate for a 30-year loan. It just makes sense. So again, I think you guys are starting to hear my tone here. This is not stopping. What I firmly believe is people should take a look at the numbers. And if there's a home that they love, they should actually probably buy it. If they are not excited about the home, then maybe use their money to buy a rental or 2 or 3, short-term or short-term or long-term. What I'll say is a straight up prediction. I believe 2022, the real estate market as a whole will appreciate 10% over the year. I believe rents they have been hiking up. I believe they'll continue to hike up, but there will be some level of a cap because, we can't just not cap it at some point, essentially, because not everyone can afford ridiculous, 25% rent hikes. And I believe interest rates will stay under 4. And those 3 things are my predictions. And again, I don't know if I'm going to be Nostradamus or not, but I believe they'll stay under 4. Inflation will correct itself. It's already slowly correcting itself, although there's been a lot of inflation. I believe there will stay low supply. I believe builders are going to continue to have this issue. I believe you need to be bullish in this real estate market. You don't have these hedge funds going out and continuing to raise hundreds of millions of dollars so they can buy more property because they think the housing market is overpriced. They wouldn't be buying if they thought the housing market was overpriced because they buy and hold. They don't buy and sell. So I'm following the money. I'm following the data from 2021. I'm following all the small, what I would believe is more commonsensical statistics, right? Rent hikes, interest rate hikes, supply and demand. This is 2022 is going to be an incredible market for real estate. Incredible. Again, if you're looking to buy your own home, I would say look at the numbers. If you're looking to buy long term, I say absolutely do it. Make sure you stick to the 1% rent ratio and the 75 to 80% all-in number. I love short-term rentals right now. I want to buy 4 this year alone. I'm going to continue to buy long-term. And I want to do a public service announcement right now as I just thought of it. March 11th and 12th in Scottsdale, we are doing the Wealth Accelerator event. I have some of the biggest names in the space, some of the most successful people who have not only made a whole lot of money in the transactional wholesaling and flipping business, but then they've leveraged it into building absolute huge amounts of wealth. So I have myself, I have Kent Clothier, Cody Sperber, Carlos Reyes, Chris Nagel, Brett Tanner, Greg Herleen, Nick Perry, Jamil, Damji, Pace Morby. The list goes on. And because I want everyone here to realize you need to be making money through your transactional business, which is wholesaling and flipping, but you also need to be building wealth simultaneously. So go to wealthacceleratorevent.com, wealthacceleratorevent.com. Get to the event, March 11th and 12th in Scottsdale. The tickets are incredibly cheap because I want people physically there so I can make a massive, massive impact. Again, wealthacceleratorevent.com. And come hang out with all of us, shake our hands, talk to us, but we are going to be giving to you on how to build wealth. So with all that said, hopefully you guys love this episode. Hopefully you guys see what I'm seeing. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button. I'd greatly appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.